many in this room, by raise of hands, have been the only person of your race or your color in a room? Only one. Okay, a few of you. This happens to me all the time. And the reason it happens to me all the time is I am the better half of an interracial marriage. And I will always remember the first time it happened. And it's because of the way I was described. My husband and I were at a wedding, and I overheard two people talking, and someone said, "Hey, have you met Brian's wife yet?" And they're like, "No, I really want to meet her." They're like, "Oh, you'll find her, she's the white girl." And I'm like, I don't know if I've ever been called a white girl before. So living here, you would not use that description because it gets you nowhere, because that's the majority of the people that live where we live. In the scenario I was, it was the perfect description, because then you do have to find it. So today I'm going to talk about my modern family. Families come in different shapes and sizes, and I'm going to share with you what some of them are. The nuclear family, you know, whenever I think of the nuclear family, I think of the 50s version, the husband and wife and the kids, and they're standing outside their house with their perfectly manicured lawn in a picture. Well, I think there's versions of that still, right? It still happens today, but it's not the majority of families anymore. Families look different. There are families with same-sex parents. There are families with interracial parents. There are people who choose not to have children, grandparents raising children, and there are families with adoptions. We all look different. Well, the first way that I think we are a modern family is I've been married more than one time. Now, not shocking in today's arena, that happens all the time, but it is a modern thing. My first marriage was a flash. I got married, had a child, divorced by the time I was 20. I knew there was better things for me. But I also blame the Brady Bunch. I mean, they made, in the 70s, blended families look very cool. They got to wear these groovy clothes, and got to be on TV and sing as a family. I mean, seriously, I had to have a second marriage. So I got married to the tall, dark, handsome guy at work. We've been married for 21 years. And when we first got married, of course there were interracial marriages, but there weren't as many as you see now. And we were actually confronted a couple of times by people who felt that they had to express their outrage by the fact that we were together. It doesn't happen so much anymore, but I think it's only because people don't say something. They keep it to themselves, and here's why. Do you guys remember that Cheerios commercial from last year? There's a little girl, and she's in the kitchen with her mom, and then they're talking, and she runs into the living room to tell her dad something. She's so excited. And this commercial caused outrage. People were telling Cheerios they had to remove it from the TV, that it was inappropriate, that people shouldn't see this. And do you know why? The parents were different races. So it still exists, just people don't necessarily come up and yell at me because they disapprove of my marriage. So, modern family, I've been married multiple times. I'm involved in interracial marriage, and the third one is adoption. I have 3 children, but what you may not know is I have 3 grandchildren. As I told you, I had a daughter very young, Jennifer, and she unfortunately followed in my footsteps, and she had a child very young too. So this meant I was a grandmother at 38 years old. So Jennifer handled her situation a little differently. Instead of getting married, she placed her daughter in open adoption. And open adoptions rock. I'm just telling you right now. They come in various ways. Sometimes people just exchange information like pictures or letters. They talk to each other. Or in our case, we have a very active participation adoption because we are all lucky enough to be here in the city. So we have all this active participation, which is great. Dave and Erin, who are Lucy's parents, adopted a son a couple of years later named Oscar. Now, Oscar's birth parents are involved too. So in our first family gatherings for the first couple of years was pretty overwhelming. So we all had to wear a name tag. My name tag said Maureen, Jennifer's mother, Lucy's birth mother. And everyone had their version of that, so we knew who each other were. And for the first couple of years, we needed that. But soon, we knew where everyone belonged, and we don't need them any longer. And then the newest member to our family is Grayson. He was born a month ago. And you know what? I think Grayson might have a little bit of a complex because he has a normal story. He's only a month old. I'm sure he'll get his own version of it, but right now he just has a normal story. So I tell my children all the time that families come in many different shapes and sizes. And when they hear me say that, they're like, I know, Mom, all families are different. But they are. And what better people to show what a modern family looks like than Lucy and Oscar, Sam and Reese, and soon to be Grayson. They are living examples of, yes, we may look different, but yes, we're a family too. I'm going to leave you with a story. When Lucy and Oscar found out that Jennifer was pregnant with Grayson, they were beside themselves. They were so happy. They were so happy that if anybody stood still for more than 2 seconds, complete strangers, they had to share their story. And they would say, and what they would say is, Lucy's birth mother, Jennifer's having a baby. And people would react, and as an adult, because I experienced this a couple of times, they would just sit there for a second, trying to process the like, okay, birth mother, okay, I'm not sure what that is yet, and why they say it was, or they were going to have a brother, and all this stuff. So I don't know if people really understood, but they got Lucy and Oscar's excitement, and they would say every time, you must be so excited. And they're like, we are. That's a great story. Just keep in mind, families may all look different, but they love each other. And I'm going to leave you with a quote that I think sums up my feelings about my family, and it's a quote from Katrina and the Waves. I'm walking on sunshine, yeah, and it feels good.